Hello y'all, this is Valerie here, and if you're usually here for my farm content, that's not what this is about this week. I went to a festival last weekend. This is September 2nd. I went to a festival last weekend, and I just wanted to come on here and share my thoughts about it and show you some clips of my weekend. So I just wanted to come on here and say that this is what the beginning of most festivals look like. Piles of stuff everywhere that I slowly sort out and either put away or pack. This is what prepping for a festival actually looks like. Alright, here's our home away from home. I'm going to start with the kitchen. This is the dining room. This is our stove and our oven. We had biscuits and gravy fresh this morning. Dish drainer, snacks, trash can. This is a cool tip. This is just a pop-up hamper that folds down flat. Just take that and use it as a trash can. Alright, let's go in this. I sewed this bunting onto my guy lines because it's pretty and it also lets people know that it's a trip hazard. I just got some garland and attached it to a ribbon light. These are just curtain lights that I individually glued flowers on. And of course these curtains I just ordered. But I did make this rig here for the lights that kind of can you show that right there. The pivot in the middle. It's cut across, it's cut apart in the middle, and there's a bungee that goes all the way through, and then we have our lights. We poked holes and we have the lights coming down through that. So basically when we take this apart, it just folds in two, and the lights stay together, and it makes it really quick to hang. We went through a lot of incarnations of that. Yeah, you just fold it like he's showing. You band it together to the top there, and then you fold it and pack it, and then when you're ready to use it again, we have these hoops that we tied on the corner with string. We just took them to there because there's a bungee inside of that. And then we also have our curtains on bungees. And we hook it all to the string. We don't have our flower ceiling this time because I forgot it. But we do have the backdrop. We had to orient our head differently this time because it's downhill. We use these hanging things that you get for your closet as a closet. It's really convenient to put keys or clothes or whatever in. We haven't completely unpacked though. And this right here are drawers that we just take, and we just keep camping supplies in here of different sorts. They were organized better, but now they're kind of a mess. But they also double as little nightstands. Alright. And this is actually a tent. It's got a bottom and everything. These little rugs here, they are made of recycled straw and they don't kill the grass, but they also make it to where if for some reason it would accidentally flood in here, all our stuff is going to stay dry because the water will just go underneath. And we have the same thing out here. And if it really just makes a huge difference in inclement weather, because yesterday when we got here it was raining. You're not walking around in mud, you're walking around on a carpet. Also, for our bed, we've got an air mattress, but we also have this memory foam mattress that folds in threes, and it is queen size, so we have an actual bed here. Alright, I think that's all that I got for you right now. So I guess the first thing that I want to talk about, and I know that this isn't officially associated with the festival. However, since this is our first experience upon arrival to Pipestem, I wanted to go ahead and include this. Plus, this is where it was suggested I stay on the fan page and on the festival page, and it is one of the places that is listed to stay. So, we went to Meadow in the Mountains at Pipestem, in Pipestem, West Virginia, and we stayed at Pipestem State Park. The park was beautiful. The little town was beautiful. It was very quaint, small, but, oh, and we had plenty of space to camp. But I guess my caveat to the camping would be, we were in a state park, so quiet time started at 10 p.m., and the festival didn't even let out until, what was it, 11:30, something like that. So it'd be midnight or later when we got back to our campsite, and we had to be quiet. Also, state park, no drinking allowed. You're not allowed to have any alcohol of any kind there. Also, state park, most of the people that were staying in our section were not at the festival. So, me, having been to many, many other festivals, this kind of took away a little bit for me of the whole experience, because part of the lovely things about a festival is the community that's created in the campground once the music stops and before the music begins. And that was lost slightly. We did have, if it wasn't for our neighbors across the way, we wouldn't have had that experience at all, but they were at the festival too. So we did at least have a little bit of camaraderie festival-wise. Apparently there were other people at the festival in the park. They just weren't in our section. So, that was the negatives about the campground. It did have very clean showers and very clean bathrooms. The shuttle bus did come around often, and we had plenty of space to camp, and in our campsite we had electricity and water. Okay, now for the festival itself. The festival itself is a very cute little festival. I can see that it's going to grow. You can tell it's run very well for the most part. And if I say something that kind of rings as a criticism, please don't take it as such. It's just that I've been to so many festivals, and these are the things that I look for. So, that being said, it is run very well. The festival ground is in a really nice place. The people were friendly once you got in. I did hear of people being pulled over on their way back to their hotels. So, I guess that's going to bring me to my first criticism about this festival. No on-site camping. Now, I know most metal festivals, excluding the large ones like Louder Than Life or Rock on the Range or any of those that are big, most metal festivals do not include on-site camping. Me, as a festival goer, and I have done many festivals throughout my life, on-site camping is a very, very big thing. Because, for one, like I said, there's a sense of community that happens amongst other festival goers. For two, when there's on-site camping, you also, it's like-minded people. So therefore, if you have a drink, no one's going to be upset about it, as long as you're not acting like a rude person. Also, I'm going to say another criticism of this festival is once you came in, you could not leave. Now, this was a festival in which they expected you to be there from noon when it opened to midnight without leaving. And the porta potties were full by the second day. Like that evening, the porta potties were full. So as a female who maybe was TMI here, but was on her period, it was not a pleasant experience. And so therefore, if I would have been able to leave, go back to my campground, hang out, do what I needed to do, and then come back after I regrouped, that would have been a boon. We weren't allowed to leave the festival, so therefore we were expected to be there all day long. Due to the fact that we were not able to leave the festival and come back in, we missed so many bands. Instead of missing maybe an hour and a half while we went back to camp and regrouped, you were not allowed to bring drinks in, so we were not going to go there in the hot sun and stand all day. And yes, I do agree that you should support the vendors, and we did while we were there, but it's not realistic to expect a person to be there for 12 plus hours and only be able to eat vendor food or be able to buy vendor drinks or, be very limited in options, because while there were a decent mix of vendors there were not a huge mix, so you were kind of limited. So those would be my criticism of the festival. The music was excellent. Like I said, we didn't get to see every band because a lot of times we didn't get there to evening because we were not going to stay 12 hours plus at a festival. What we like to do at a festival when we go to festivals is, I know I'm saying that word a lot, when we go to festivals, what we like to do is go hang out in the afternoon, see some of the daytime bands somewhere, early afternoon, head back to camp, have a good solid meal, hydrate, and then go back to the show for the party time in the evening. And we were not able to do that, and it was a disappointment. So we just basically forewent all of the morning and afternoon bands that we would have seen and just went for the evening time. We waited until after, early afternoon, early evening, late afternoon to go. So we did miss a lot of bands. Okay, for the good stuff was the music. To me, the standouts were Byzantine, which is local out of Charleston, West Virginia. And John 5. Listened to John 5 all night. The set was too short, and to me, those were the standouts. I did get a few festival pictures in here, but my camera broke, and it was really weird because in the viewfinder it looked like all my footage was fine, but when I got home and put it up on my computer, they were all blurry. I will include some of those pictures here. There's a shot that's the only shot I got of my outfit, and I may have been including some of the pictures in here while I've been talking. Oh, while we were at the state park, the rangers came around quite often, which made everyone feel uncomfortable. And they were walking around our neighbor's campsite, kind of looking in the campsite without touching anything or without actually getting in it. They were trying to see what they could see without getting into anything. There was nothing for them to see, but that's what they were trying to do. And if I got any of that on film, I tried to film it. I don't know if I've got any of it, but if it is seeable, because I was trying to not be obvious about it. So if any of it's usable, I'll put it in here. If not, then I won't have that. The host was excellent. The music that we got to see was excellent. If I did not mention your band, it's not because you weren't good. It's because I literally didn't get to see that much. And I'm just telling you the one that stood out from the ones that I got to see. There were several bands that we did not get to see that I was on my list to see that we just skipped over because we weren't going to stand there all day and we weren't going to go there and not be allowed back in. So, great vibe, great people. Monster Dolls, is that what they were called? Some ladies, they were doing a burlesque type show, and that was pretty entertaining and a nice break while the band set up for the next performance. This is a festival that I think I am going to return to and maybe do VIP next year, to where I do have the ability to use an actual bathroom. Depending on that experience, I may or may not go back. There are certain festivals that I will always go to regardless, because I love them so much, just unless the genre just changed too much. Unfortunately, Metal in the Mountains is not one of those festivals at this point. I think if they grow and maybe keep some of the things in mind, like on-site camping and being able to return after you leave the venue, or having the campground attached to where you can go and come back, or working out a deal with a privately owned campground to where it's just festival campers there for the weekend, so that way, you know, we don't have to come back to the campground and be very quiet after getting our faces melted. I mean, that's kind of a hard wind down. It's very abrupt to go from rocking your face off to coming back to the festival ground or the campground and okay, it's bedtime. I mean, you could have a quiet fire, but I mean, even then the rangers kept driving around to make sure no one was being loud, and I guess to make sure no one was drinking, and that made people uncomfortable even though people weren't doing anything wrong. So I really overall like the festival. I am going to give it another shot doing VIP. It's not a must-go festival. I think that it could be a must-go festival for me if some of the little inconveniences were fixed. And I know maybe that's me being spoiled, but I go to a lot of festivals every year, and I have to choose which ones to go to and what's worth the money. And I am going to give Metal in the Mountains another try because I love metal music, and it's really the only one in West Virginia like it. I do think that it's probably going to outgrow that venue, which is awesome. I mean, like I said, it's an awesome festival, awesome quality performers, very smoothly ran. There's just a few little inconveniences that me, as a festival goer, puts it out of being a must go. If those little things were fixed, it's probably a festival that I would go to regardless of who was playing. And doesn't that say everything you need to know about a festival? If you're willing to go to it regardless of who's playing, that tells you the festival's awesome. And I really feel like this festival is awesome enough, barring those couple of things. But those couple of things are important and weigh heavy to me, so they would be enough to keep me from returning as well. So I just wanted to give my little review. Overall, it was a beautiful festival. The people were nice. It was pretty smoothly ran, and I had a great time. I am going to give it another try. I think that if you at all like metal music, you should definitely give it a try. They have a lot of talent there, and I'm sure way more talent that I didn't get to see. Thank you for sticking around and watching this, and if you are here for my gardening stuff usually, I will be getting back to that probably next week. Thank you very much, and I will see you next time.